Hey guys, it's Ben. It is Sunday now. And start off, Outlaw Nights is coming to Indiegogo on September 24th. You're gonna want to get in on that. If I was in your shoes, I'd want this book. I mean, yeah, I'm a little biased, but still. So for today's video, I just wanted to briefly talk a little bit, more of a personal, well, I think this whole channel's pretty much just my personal point of view on things. Too many people online trying to say that they're newscasters and all. We live in the ultimate age of hyper-reality right now, where, everybody's operating off of different information. But anyway, totally aside from that, I was thinking about my shows that I love to watch, and particularly shows that came out within the past 10 years. The shows that I loved, there was this pretty consistent pattern where it's like for the first 3 seasons, I'm into it. I really enjoy like every aspect of the show. And then once they hit season 4, season 5, they start deciding, well, we need to experiment with the formula a little bit, and they end up making choices that are just so unbelievably disappointing. And for whatever reason, like, those are the writers that get their kicks out of hurting their audience. I've never understood that mindset. I don't get what kind of a sadist you are to where, you create characters that people love, and you're like, yeah, I wanna ruin their day, Game of Thrones. But I think my favorite, one of my favorite shows to come out within the past few years that really took a sharp downturn was Gotham. I think a lot of you, if you've seen Gotham, you know what I'm talking about. The first season of Gotham was sublime. It was perfect. It was... They took the concept of Batman, they approached it from a different angle, and they took elements of different genres of shows. Like, I think, they borrowed a little bit from like Law and Order and stuff like that to tell sort of a crime show set in the DC universe, which, like, I thought that was awesome. That's an angle nobody has ever really approached this from. And especially showing the making of the Batman. The girl that they got to play Catwoman as a child, I thought she was perfect for that role. I feel like, like after watching Gotham, I don't want to see anybody else play Catwoman. If you're gonna do a movie about Batman and you're gonna have Catwoman in it, you cast what's her name? Cameron Bicondova. You cast her. She is Catwoman in my eyes. I loved her take on it. She made the character super relatable, and you really felt empathy for her, and you wanted to see her succeed. And you knew that even though she was not perfect in the slightest, she was very hostile. She was very she had an altruistic side, but she was mostly self-interested. But you could still care about her. You could still relate to her. She was of all the characters on Gotham, I would argue she was the most empathetic and sympathetic to other people. I think Penguin was perfect. Penguin was it was a reimagining done so well, because it paid homage to the original character while at the same time giving it more of a modern twist, not just retelling some little guy in a tuxedo or wearing tails. I thought that was great. Everything about the show I loved up until I think season 4. Season 4 was when all of the little ticks that were kind of developing in season 3 really kind of got blown out of proportion. My biggest complaint was all the stuff they were doing with Barbara Keene. Barbara Keene's character changed like every freaking season. And I don't mean like little changes of like character development. I mean like full on got redone every season. She started off in the first season as, very supportive, very nice, a little disturbed, and the idea was Jim Gordon was being neglectful and kind of a shitty boyfriend, and it drove her into, it kind of pushed her closer towards the dark side, because they had referenced that she had like a past of drug use and stuff. But then they go from that to Barbara becomes a total psychotic murderess, like she's a serial killer. She's completely unhinged, like all touch with reality has been lost, which first thought I had was, okay, you're taking Harley Quinn and you're giving it a slightly different makeover. But then she goes from that to just becoming kind of a mobster. And not just a mobster, but she ends up running all of Gotham. And we never actually see her making the moves or making any moves to take over. She just kind of comes in, this really rich, very spoiled art gallery owner. All of a sudden, the entire underworld respects the hell out of her. And they treat her like she's this bigger monster than Don Falcone could ever be. It was so silly. And then we go from that. She gets killed by Tabitha. And rightfully so. But then Ra's al Ghul, of all people, takes an interest in this art gallery owner and decides to bring her back with the Lazarus Pit, and then trains her to be a member of the League of Assassins. Keep in mind, all these changes are happening. It's like one season she's this way, the next season she's that way, the next season she's that way. It was the most, it was like the writers just kept changing their minds with the direction they were going with her and decided, you know what, screw it, we're gonna... So anyway, oh God, and don't get me started on the finale of Gotham. That was... oh my God, everything about that finale was I was angry. I'm usually pretty laid back about most of this. It's like I can put it in its context, I was angry. I was mad because you had all this buildup. You had a bunch of great plot lines that you just kind of really quick. Y'all were just like, we got to solve this. All right. Well, no, let's add some more during this season. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Well, now we still have these plot lines we haven't touched in 2 seasons. So what do? We wrap them up real quick in the last episode. Put a nice bow on it. And it wasn't even that, in my opinion, because the kid who played Bruce Wayne was still they had him in the Batman mask, not having put on any muscle at all, looking like a total goofball. And this coming on the heels of the fact that in the last episode they recast the perfect Catwoman with, at first it gives you this vibe okay, well, that makes sense because you're showing there's been a 10-year gap between the last episode and this episode. So it makes sense to cast somebody older. But you didn't do the same thing with Bruce Wayne. So you just completely took the piss out of it for me, that show. But anyway, that there seems to be this trend going where a lot of shows start off really strong and end really weak, and Gotham was the perfect prime example of that. I was gonna get into another example, but I ended up taking so long on the Gotham example, I think I'm gonna call it right here. I will be back to you guys with another video at some point. Leave me some comments, give me some likes if you like it. I'm not gonna, don't just hit the like button arbitrarily. Subscribe to the channel, of course, and be on the lookout on Indiegogo. We're gonna have Outlawed Nights, our 48-page graphic novel, first issue, gonna hopefully be the first of a 6-issue, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I'd like to keep it going beyond that. But that all depends on you guys, if whether or not you like this first issue. So thank you so much. Link is in the description for the emailer page. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.